5 more names, 5 more faces, 5 more dreams, and once again, in 5 days, I can guarantee you, most of us will not remember them. Let me say their names out loud, viewers, so there's at least a record. Captain Shubham Gupta, Captain M.V. Pranjal, Havildar Abdul Majid, Lance Naik Sanjay Bisht, Paratrooper Sachin Laur. The familiar stream of images, the smiling pictures, the serious service photos, the pictures of stoic and grieving families, of caskets and coffins and funerals, of mothers so devastated they cannot speak, of fathers who must set aside all their emotions to keep it together, of brothers and sisters who knew this day may come, of children too young to realize what the commotion is all about. This has become just too damn familiar. We've simply come to expect this, even this coverage, even this take of mine. The outpouring of emotion, each time we say enough is enough, each time we guiltily, secretly move on, not quite knowing what else to do. What can we do? Well, we can ask questions that rise above the grief and the surround sound of chest-thumping glorification of death. We can recognize that Shubham, Abdul, Pranjal, Sanjay and Sachin were 5 young Indians with dreams and no plans for things to end so soon. Sure, they knew their work was dangerous and could end the way it did, at the wrong end of a terrorist's Kalashnikov rifle. But please let your gaze rest on their faces for just a moment, viewer. These aren't some superhumans. It is the work they do, the situations they land in that expects them to be superhumans for small stretches of time. At every other moment, each one of these men you see in these pictures is people like you and me, with the same mundane everyday problems, the same mundane stresses and strains. And now, all of it has just faded to black. Today, like every other time the military has faced such losses, I intend to pay tribute to the departed by asking questions. Some of these questions may be uncomfortable to some of us, but they need to be asked if we are to minimize the possibility of another Shubham, another Abdul, another Sanjay, another Sachin, another Pranjal being cut down in their youth, in their prime. Questions that the army is undoubtedly occupied with already, being one of the most professional forces in the world. But questions that must also pervade the public mind, your mind, my mind. I ask you, viewer, to join me in paying tribute to 5 young Indians who had to make the supreme sacrifice by asking the questions that you will see right here on this show. And remember, in the wake of these 5 deaths, of these 5 young army men, are 5 devastated families, 5 devastated units that now see a void that has been left in the wake of these 5 brave men. Families that will never be the same again, families that will see this sense of loss for all time to come. This is a void that can never be filled. The loss of a child, the loss of a loved one. It's easy for us to point our cameras at them, even if momentarily, to record that grief. But this is a grief that I can tell you, having written about this extensively, having covered this for nearly 2 decades, I can tell you this is a grief that never goes away. A grief-stricken nation bids farewell to 5 of its young army bravehearts who made that supreme sacrifice and laid down their lives. They were forced to lay down their lives while fighting Pakistani terrorists in the notoriously dangerous Rajouri sector very close to the line of control. While the wreath-laying ceremony was performed today, the mortal remains of the personnel have been sent to their native towns and villages.